Hey guys, I'm back, but this isn't an episode of my History of Digimon series. Like I said, it's a review video for the Olympus has. This is a side project video. It's a review, but before I do, I want to mention to you guys. Like I said in my last video for the first season, I want to thank you for your support with the first series, stuff like that, and when I get to season 2, I'll see you then. But this is a side project. This is a side project for. This is like a side project for me. Anyway, this is a review on the movie Olympus Has Fallen. Now, Olympus Has Fallen is a movie from 2013, starring Gerard Butler, Aaron Eckhart, and Morgan Freeman. Basically, the character that Gerard Butler plays is known as Mike Banning, and the way the movie starts off is it starts off with them at Camp David, the presidential retreat area, where he and Mike Banning are boxing, and then Banning is basically telling him that if he really seriously trying to rope and dope him, that's an old man's move. And then Ben Asher, which is Aaron Eckhart's character, says that he is an old man and stuff. And then then Mike's basically saying that he's right. He gets it that he bets he boxes like what and stuff, and then he says he wanted to keep the guard up, and basically what happens is Harlan boxing. He wants him to telegraph it, and then Forbes shows up, and then he's telling him. Now, about Forbes for this movie, at the beginning of the movie, he's one of the good guys, but for the rest of it, he's sort of the bad guy. I'll explain later when I get to the part of the movie that takes place after. This movie takes place in America, so the last part of it, the next half of the movie will take place on July 5th after Independence Day. So I'll explain what's gonna happen there once I get there. Anyway, he's telling the president that he's got like 10 minutes, and then basically what's happening is President Asher is thanking him for that, and then before he goes off, he's telling Mike that basically you're not supposed to hit the president, and he says that he knows, and he says that he'll get him next time and stuff, and then they start laughing, and he says then says that basically. President Asher says that basically he bets he will, and then there's these security guys on the outside of the cottage, like outside of Camp David. They're saying that the perimeter is basically secure, and then basically what happens is after that, Mike's walking up to the door, and then he gets his communication from one of the people on the outside saying that the weather's getting worse out there, but we're advised it's drivable and stuff. Oh my god, that's kind of funny. Anyway, continuing, then he's telling them to stand by and stuff because they're gonna go. So then he knocks on the door, and then he basically is saying, he knocks on the door and then he's saying good evening to the president, and he's telling him that he's got at least 5 minutes. Before he knocks on the door, the president and his wife were talking. The president and his wife Margaret and his wife Margaret were talking and stuff. But then, like I said, Mike Banning knocks on the door, and Oh, before I continue, I just want to mention how these review videos are going to work is I'm going to talk about them, and then I'm going to, at the end of the video, I'm going to give them a solid rating. Like a rating percentage number. I just thought I'd get it out of the way. I should have said that when it first started. Anyway, getting back into the movie, like I was saying, he knocks on the door, and then he's telling him, the president, he's got 5 minutes, and then he says good evening to the president's wife, Margaret, and then he's saying that the president gets the multitudes of independence on trouble, but he can't help her choosing a hearing and stuff. Oh my god! Oh my god, that's kind of funny. And then basically what happens after that is, he's saying that she should go with the small one because it's a classical for classic ladies. Oh my god. And then basically what happens is she's telling Mike that they had a good chat, and then President Asher is saying that he's like a kid ass person and stuff, which is explicit. I'm sorry, but there are a bunch of swearing in the movie, but there is a bit of profanity in this movie, but it's still a good movie either way. Anyway, that's why I decided to do a review on it as a side project, because it's a good movie. Anyway, continuing on, when she's back in the cottage with them, he's saying that she loves her husband and Mike both. She's going with the long ones instead. And then Ben's kind of being a bit exasperated. He said that, why do I go to these I ain't going to these fundraisers. Why don't you go for me? And then she's telling him that he's perfect. And then she said that God forbid people know that they kiss and stuff. And now this is a product placement. This next part of it is the scene in the cottage is kind of a product placement kind of movie. Product placement kind of scene, I guess you could say. What I mean by that is, the president's son is playing, who is Connor Asher, who is also played by Finley Jacobson in this movie. By the way, I just thought I'd get that out of the way. Anyway, he's playing Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception and stuff on his PlayStation. But then Mike comes over to where he is and he said that, pal, the real bloodbath starts when your mom catches you playing this, so he turns the TV off. And then basically Connor is saying that he sucks, and then Mike's saying that he sucks worse. And then basically what happens after that is Connor turns off his controller because the TV is turned off, so he can't use the controller if the TV is turned off because he had to use it for the system anyway. And then basically what happens is Connor's mom starts walking over to where he is, and then he calls her love, and she calls him love, and she's asking him if he wants to open a gift before they go, and then he says that his name's not love, and he's gonna wait till everyone else gets there. She says that she keeps forgetting about that, and she apologizes for that as well. And then Connor's wondering, does he really have to come with them, because he's been on so many with them and stuff. And then his dad's saying that the election is hard work, and then his mom's apologizing to him, and then he's saying that he'll go, but he's like, could he at least try to go with Mike instead? And then basically what happens is after that is President Asher is saying that he has to check with Mike because he's the boss and stuff like that. And then he's saying that Connor's asking Mike if he can come along with him, and then Mike's saying he says it's okay, like he's saying okay, alright and stuff. And then he goes over to where Diaz is, and he's saying that he's riding his Easter line, and he tells him Merry Christmas because the first part of the movie takes place around Christmas time, which is kind of funny. The first part of it takes place around Christmas time and stuff. Anyway, after that, basically what happens after that is he goes over to where Forbes is, and he says that he watches he stays back and watches the board tonight, and then he's saying that, are you kidding me? His brother is doing about a smoky snoot by the fire, watch Breaking Bad, fine with me, my own little retirement party. And then Mike is basically telling him to leave the babysitter alone and stuff. And then basically what happens after that is, basically what happens is Connor's dad had to give him his dinner with that, and Connor said that he liked that. And then basically what happens is, he said that he liked that, as I said, and then his mom's saying that she thinks it's fine because it's age appropriate, and Connor's dad is Ben is wanting his son to take it off when they get inside, and she's saying, then his mom's saying that the girls take it and stuff, which is kinda, it's a bit funny, guys, and then Mike talks into this kind of thing that he has on his suit. He's like, Mustang, this is Big Tough, bringing out the full package, let's go. And then they're getting in the vans and stuff, and then the security on the outside is basically saying that the package is on the move. And then, while Mike's in his van driving, he's saying that he's telling his guy that the ETA to the Morgan residence is 22 minutes and stuff, and he's wanting them to keep it tight. And then he goes, like, he's wanting everybody to keep it tight and stuff. And then basically, then he looks into the direction where Connor is, and he's saying that he wants Connor to scoot back and put his seatbelt on. And Connor's wondering what'll happen if he doesn't. And then basically, then Mike is basically seeing it, when he'll basically end up punching him in the nuts and stuff, which is kind of, it's adult humor, it's funny a bit. Anyway, then he's asking Connor if he's keeping 180 degrees awareness, and then Connor's saying that he's wondering if it's 360 and stuff. It's because he thought Mike said it was 360. And then he says that he's just checking it, and then basically what happens is Connor is basically saying that, Connor's basically saying after that, that he seems to be setting him up is what he's doing and stuff, and then basically after that, he's asking him a bunch of questions where he's, like, basically, how many emergency exits are in the West Wing, and he said that there are 8. And then he's asking him how many people from the Oval Office to the Peoc elevator, and that answer to that question is 116. And then he's also asking him another question, like, when the door's closing in the elevator, how much time does it take them to get to the Peoc? And then basically what happens after that is, he's kind of saying that it's 116. Like, no. When the doors closing in the Peoc, like, it's 116 means the meter to the Peoc elevator, and how much time does it take when the doors closing? How much time does it take to get from the to the Peoc through the elevator? And that's basically 4 minutes. And he's also asking him about the security cameras, how many of them have audio and stuff. And then Connor is basically saying that only the ones in the common area, only the security cameras in the common area have audio and stuff. And then Mike is basically telling him that he did not pad, the kids got it, and then, and, well, one of the others is saying that the kids got it, and then he's saying that they're going to make a Secret Service agent out of him yet. And then I think O'Neill's the one who makes a joke about that, where he's saying that basically you just gotta remember to keep his seatbelt on. Oh my god! And then it goes over into the vehicle where Connor's mom and dad are, and then Connor's mom is seeing that it's really coming down, and then she makes this kind of weird joke to get her husband's attention, where she says she's thinking of shaving her head, and then President Asher is basically saying that sounds good and stuff, and then basically what happens is there's a little bit of radio chatter saying it's getting worse out there, bring it down to 5, and then Margaret is giving her husband a present, and then when he opens it, he finds out that it's a watch, his grandpa's watch, and he's wondering how she got a hold of it, and she said that he just has her ways, and then basically she gives them they give each other kisses and stuff, and then President Asher is basically saying, now let's talk about that shaved head idea, and then she starts laughing because she realizes that he was listening, and she didn't, and then President Asher is basically saying that she didn't think he was listening, and then she says that he's very clever, and then he's asking Diaz if he's ever been to a billionaire's Christmas party, and then Diaz says no, and then basically President Asher is basically saying that they're overrated and stuff, and then Diaz is agreeing with them, and then he pulls out a present that was meant for her, and he's acting surprised to wonder where it's come from, and he gives it to her. And then a little later on the drive, there's this thing that falls onto the SUV and stuff, and then Mike's wanting them to stop and stuff. And then basically what happens is the first of the transport vehicles crashes into the side of the bridge that they're on, and then basically what happens after that is Mike's wanting Connor to stay where he is, and then after that what happens is there's a little bit of communication where the guy that's driving is telling Diaz to clear the communications because the first lady's injured and stuff, and then basically what happens is it goes into where Mike is and his people are from the other end, and they're running over and they're trying to save the president and his wife, and then basically what happens is Mike's telling them don't ever anybody move inside and stuff, and don't move. And then basically what happens after that, basically what happens after that is it says that the man's going, and then they want Mike to get the president out, and then the president is basically saying that his wife's seatbelt's stuck, and then basically what happens after that is Mike's telling him that he wants him to get out of the car because he'll take care of her, and then he's asking Uber to open the open the door and stuff, and he's saying that the door is jammed, like it's explosive jammed and stuff, and he wants her to pull it off that side, and then it starts going down, and then Connor's watching from the other van, and then basically what happens after that is, if you're wondering why I'm doing the explicit stuff, you see, it's because there's a bit of profanity kind of stuff. Like there's a bit of swearing in the movie, so I'm doing it explicit because I don't want this to be removed because of the swearing. So, my pardons for that. Anyway, he's saying, well, as I was saying, Connor's looking on, and then President Asher is wanting, like, he's wanting Mike to get his wife out, and he's telling President Asher that he's sorry, and then the Beagle goes over the bridge and crashes into the ice that's on the ground, and then he's upset. And then Connor runs out to it, and then basically what happens after that is he finds out that his mom and dad, and he's upset, like he's thinking about his mom and stuff, and then the helicopter overhead is flying it, and he's saying that burn, I think 417 and stuff, and then basically what happens is the rest of the movie after that takes place 18 months after the events of the first part of it, specifically right after after Independence Day, also known as the 4th of July, basically on July 5th. And then basically what happens is it starts off, and it shows the time where it is in Washington, D.C. and stuff, which I won't explain that. Well, it's 6:12 p.m. and stuff, and then basically, it shows Mike sleeping, and then he says he's sorry to his wife, and she's saying that she knows that he's sorry, but she doesn't like to go to barbecues by herself, and then basically what happens is, then there's this news report on the TV about North Korean movers towards the DMZ continue to make ring alarm bells throughout Pacific markets and stuff. Pacific market. And then basically what happened, well, basically because the rest of the events of this movie, like I said, take place on July 5th after Independence Day. Anyway, and on this day, the South Korean Prime Minister is supposed to be heading to the White House to have talks with the president about the tension that's rising in the DMZ and stuff. And then, while the news report is playing, Mike's wondering where the coffee is, and then his wife is saying that, because he's wondering if they're out of coffee, and then his wife is saying that, are they? And then he's just saying that she thought she said, but before he can say any more, she turns the blender on and stuff, and then basically after that, she stops the blender, and he's telling her that she's saying that he was telling her something. She said that he was saying something, and then basically he says he'll get some more coffee and stuff, and then basically like the first part of the movie, like the first part of this section of the movie takes place around like 6:12 a.m. like early in the morning, basically. I just get that small part out of the way. Anyway, basically he says that he'll get some more coffee, and she says that's great and stuff. And then basically what happens is he's asking her how was the barbecue that he missed and stuff, and she's saying that it was actually kind of fun. He might have enjoyed it and stuff because he decided to stay home on Independence Day, whereas she wanted to go out and stuff. Basically, that's why. Anyway, and she's telling him that her friend Paul has got this new boyfriend that's really sweet, but he's working in the same department as her ex-boyfriend Alex. And then she's saying that Alex ended up showing up at the party, which was really weird for like Paula and stuff. But then she realizes that Mike's not listening, so she said that she was overwhelmed, and then she turns the TV off, and then basically what happens after that is she's saying that Mike's not listening to her, and she's saying that he's saying that he was listening. She was talking about like his boyfriend and stuff, and then she said that no, Paula and Paula's boyfriend, he's not Paula, and then she's saying that it's okay. they'll talk about it later. And then basically what happens is he's apologizing and stuff. And then after that, they have a little small discussion, and then she makes a bit of a joke. Like, she was talking about she was thinking about that vacation that we were going to have, like, holiday that they were talking about her, him, the ocean. And she said, making a bit of a joke saying that it would be like the honeymoon they never had and stuff. And, oh my god. And he's saying that they didn't have a honeymoon and stuff, which is kind of funny. And then it goes into this next scene, where, basically, he's saying that, then basically he's in this, restaurant area with this other person. Now, this also introduces another new character for the movie, who's the Secret Service director. Her name is, Lynn Jacobs in the movie. I can't remember who plays her. Anyway, basically what happens is she says that how is his fourth, and then he's wondering his fourth what and stuff, and then she's saying that it's 4th of July, and she's telling him not to be an ass. Sorry, pardon about that. Because she's saying that, anyway, she's saying that some people do take holidays, and then he's saying that it was quiet, they stayed in, and then she's like, we, and then he's saying that he stayed in, she went out and stuff, and then he said she's shocked, and then basically what happens after that, oh my god, basically what happens after that is, that some of my Secret Service agent buddies that he worked with at the first part of the movie show up, and he's excited to see them, he's asking them how the family is and stuff, and then one of them is basically saying, that they missed him for poker last week, where is he, and he said, then they're saying that they're taking money, and he said that basically what he says after that is he's been working a late shift, like non-stop action over at the Treasury Department, because that's where he works for the rest of the movie up till the point where he runs out of the building. I'll explain that later when I get to that. And then O'Neill's basically saying, one of them is basically saying that he's got to do what he's got to do, and then he's telling his buddies that they've got a big day coming up, huh? We've got the Koreans coming in, and then the guy is basically saying that it's business as usual, and then basically what happens is he introduces them to another new agent known as Agent Jones, and he's saying that he's heard of Mike Banning, hasn't he? And then he says that, yeah, you told me, because I was to go. Sorry about that, that's another explicit word, I'm sorry, I have to say that though, but, oh my god, I want to say it, but it's a part of the movie, so anyway, continuing on. Jacobs is saying that don't they have somewhere to be and stuff, like, they got the Koreans in later and stuff, and then basically he's saying that he's agreeing with her, and then basically they're saying goodbye to Mike, and then Jacobs is basically saying that didn't end easy, and then Mike is basically saying that he didn't know that he wants back in his desk job he's working at the Treasury is kind of killing him, and then she's saying that everybody knows that he did the right thing on the bridge, but he did the right thing on the bridge. And she said how even the president knows that. And basically, she's also saying that basically he just doesn't want to see him and be reminded of it every day. And maybe they'll stop to clean properly and just give it some time and stuff. And then Mike's wondering how Connor is. And then she's saying that the president's son, this is his mom. I can't remember that part. And he's saying that she's saying that he misses his buddy, though, and he's saying that basically, he makes a bit of a joke, I guess you could say. He's saying, is he still running around the White House making everybody crazy and stuff? Oh my god. And then basically what happens after that is, she's wondering who taught him that and stuff. And then she's telling him that the first time she walked into her office, I was on engaged with her, then never mind now and stuff. And he won't exactly do himself any favors, and then he's wondering where she's going with this, and then she's basically saying that he's got to learn how to get back into the real world, and then it makes a joke of a pun about that, and then basically what happens after that is, saying that Jessica why didn't he write it down, and he's saying thanks, and then she tells him she'll keep in touch with him, and then it goes into the presidential area, and then the president and his son are wondering which ties in there, and then after that, it goes back to when Mike and he gets in his van and stuff, and he's having a memory flashback to when the accident happened, and then later on he calls his wife, but she doesn't. Well, she's at work, she doesn't answer, and then she gets her voicemail on her phone, and then basically what happens is. Mike's basically saying that he's just checking in, and because that's his, I think that's his phrase that he uses, that Gerard Butler uses when he uses that character for the movie when he's trying to talk to someone and stuff. I'm just being skeptical on that. Anyway, continuing on, he's saying that he'll call her later, and he said goodbye, and then President Asher is basically saying that they'll get some fishing in the bag together and it'll be fun. And then Connor is basically saying that he hates Camp David. Now, the reason why I think he hates it is because Camp David kind of reminds him of what happened to his mom and stuff. I just thought I'd get that out of the way. Anyway, and he's wondering if do they really have to go, can't they go like somewhere else, like the beach or something? And then basically he's saying that his dad's saying that the beach does sound kind of better. And then he's looking at his watch and he thinks that they have 3 minutes, so why don't they run down to the kitchen and get either chocolate chip or Rocky Road. And then Connor kind of makes a bit of a joke about that, saying that he's going to have Rocky Road before he eats it all like he did last time. And he says that he doesn't remember it that way. And then Connor's basically saying that he did. And then what happens basically after that is before they can go down to the kitchen to get ice cream, one of the agents that knocks on the door and tells them that they're ready for him. And then basically what happens is he's surprised by that, and then he says, like, all ready. And then basically what happens is he's apologizing to Connor, and then they go out to talk with the Speaker of the House and stuff. Then it goes over to where Mike is temporarily in the Treasury Department, and then it goes back to into where he's talking with the 3 people that he had to talk to, which are the Vice President, Charles Rodriguez, the Secretary of Defense, well, technically it's 4 people, Vice President Charles Rodriguez, Secretary of Defense Ruth McMillan, and the Speaker of the House, Alan Trump. Now, I'll just explain about that. The Speaker of the House, his character is played by Morgan Freeman. I just thought I'd get that small part of the way. And then basically, the Speaker is basically saying that Mr. Lee is going to want the President to issue a joint statement threatening military action to the North Koreans stand down from the border and stop their missile tests. And he just thinks that that's something they should give him. And then basically what happens is, after that, he goes over to where Ruth, like, asks Ruth, and then she's saying that, provided that the North Koreans are, like, rational, which is, like, dicey at best and stuff. And then basically what happens, she says that, dicey at best, she says that they bluff, they call it, then what, and stuff. And then Trump was basically saying that who's saying they'll be bluffing and stuff. And then basically what happened is President Asher is basically saying that personally he'd like to try to avoid the war. And then he goes over to where Charles Rodriguez is and he's asking him, and then he's saying that he thinks he agrees with Ruth on that one. And then he's telling the Speaker that he's thanking him for sitting in and he won't hold him up any longer. And then he walks out of the place where he was talking with them, and then then President Asher is looking at his watch because he's wondering what time the Prime Minister is supposed to arrive and stuff. And then basically what happens after that is Ruth is saying that it's 7 o'clock in the evening, and then it shows the time of 6:29, and then it goes into where Mike is playing with a little tennis ball on the desk, and then it goes back out, and it shows this plane flying over the Chesapeake Bay, which is like at least 30 minutes to Washington, and then the plane starts flying, and then basically what happens is it introduces basically what happens after that is the vehicles come into where the president is, and then one of the security runners is saying that their guests have arrived, and then these introduce, and then the special agent Sean is welcoming the Prime Minister to the White House, and he's saying that, and then he's basically saying that he introduce his head of security and chief agent department. Now, actually, I can just talk about this very quickly. The guy in the glasses, he's actually the antagonist of this movie. Well, one of the antagonists. It's a group of antagonists, basically. It's a terrorist group. But I'll explain what the terrorist group is. It's kind of KUF kind of thing, like, which is a paramilitary organization. I'll explain more about that later. And then say that it's a pleasure, and then he's basically saying that he's letting the Prime Minister in, and then he's letting his people pass, and then he's talking to Forbes, and he's saying that the suit looks good on him, and he's wondering, and then he's wondering how he's like, basically, Forbes is saying it's something to look forward to, and then Roman is basically saying that he's wondering how he's been, and he's saying that basically he misses the Secret Service in the best years of his life and stuff, and then Roma kind of makes a little bit of a sarcastic kind of joke about that, saying that the Secret Service misses him too, and he calls him an old man, and then Forbes is basically saying that he'd still kick his ass, pardon my language again, and then Roma has a laugh about that, saying at Flips Domino's, and then basically they're saying that it's good to see them. Roman's saying that it's good to see him, and then Forbes is basically saying the same to him and stuff, and then it goes into the scene of the plains in Northern Virginia, and then these fighter planes, they fly over to where, and it's like 6:58 p.m., like before the president is supposed to talk with the Prime Minister and stuff, and then these jet planes, they fly to where the plane is, and they're saying that it's an unidentified flight. The U.S. Air Force aircraft is at the starboard wing, and they're entering a restricted airspace, and then the pilot on one side is basically telling them that he's got to divert immediately to vector 010, and he's wanting them to acknowledge. And then basically what happens is the Prime Minister is basically saying that he's sorry to interrupt their occasion, and then the President is saying that he's glad he could come and stuff, and then he's asking Prime Minister Lee that they have a mutual problem, and he thinks that together they can find a solution to it. And then basically what happens after that is the Prime Minister is saying he's thanking him for that, and that's why he's here. And he's telling them that, as the President knows, North Korea has a 1 million man standing army less than 50 kilometers from the capital of Korea and stuff. And then he's basically saying that the threat is real. And then it goes back into where the plane is, and then the fighter pilot on one end is giving him one final warning that he has to divert immediately to vector 010, and this is his final warning, and he will be shot down. And then the pilots of the plane press these buttons and stuff, And then basically what happens is they shoot machine gun bullets out of it, and then he's saying it's an enemy aircraft, and then they eject, and then the plane that it's at crashes, and then it shows that it's 704, and then basically it's 704 in Washington, and then basically what happens is the president saying to Prime Minister Lee that he's certainly appreciated, but before he can continue with what he was saying, one of his Secret Service agents interrupted him and telling them that the conclusion, which is the plane, and then the president wanted the Prime Minister of South Korea to come with them. And they're saying that that's not protocol, and he says that they're coming with them and stuff, that he's coming with them. And then basically what happens is it says code 999, which I think is in a plane entering restricted airspace and stuff. And then Roma's basically, when they get into the elevator, Roma is basically saying that give him 4 minutes, and he says that pardon down on Olympus and stuff. And then basically what happens is they go down the elevator, and then it goes into where the Andrews Air Force Base is, and they mobilize their Air Force units, and then basically what happens is they're saying that their estimated arrival is like 4 minutes and stuff, and then basically what happens is another Secret Service agent on the inside of the house says that they got a code red, like airspaces 1 and 2 are like compromised, and he's saying that ready 1, move to west corner, move to west corner and stuff, and then they open the machine turret thing to shoot the thing down, and then the plane is basically shooting bullets out, and then basically what happens is they get the call at the Treasury Department, and then Mike notices the plane, and then he runs out of there, and then the machine turrets come out and they shoot the missile. But then the people on the plane disperse them by using these little explosives, and then it goes into where the PIOC is, and then but before it goes into the actual PIOC part of the building, the president is wanting them to find his son and stuff. And then basically what happens is when they get to where it is, Mike is, after it gets to that scene, Mike is basically running to tell the people to get down and stuff. And then basically what happens is after it starts shooting, Mike Banning is basically saying that he wants the people to stay down and not move, and he wants them to get out of the way and take cover. And then it shows the fighter plane showing up, and then it says his name is Bullbound, like he's communicating with the PIOC command center, and he's saying that this is Bullbound 6, he got the bogey in sight, and then they're giving him the order to fire at will at the plane and stuff, and then he acknowledges, and then he basically shoots it down, and then it crash lands, but not before it crashes into the Washington Monument. Not before it crashes into the Washington Monument and stuff, and causes that part of the top part of the monument to crumble. And then Agent Jones is basically telling the president that they got confirmation that the bogey is down. And in that part of the movie, it's like 7:12 p.m., so it's a little while after the prime minister arrives. And then he's telling he wants them to activate Combat 1. He wants open lines with the Pentagon, Homeland Security, and NSA. And he's telling Charlie which is the vice president, he's telling Vice President Rodriguez to coordinate with the Air Force and FAA, find out if the plane that entered their airspace was a lone aircraft and stuff. And then he's asking Ruth where his son is, and then it goes into then it shows the people at the gate of the White House, and then they're wondering what happened, and then there's this little explosion at a bus near where they are, and then some of the people start running, but two of them don't actually run. They start heading toward the gate, and then Mike's telling them, hey, get the F, like telling them to get the, pardon my language on this, back. And then he shoots one of them, and then the other guy with it clicks the thing, and the bomb that was on the back exploding the gate, and then they get a radio report saying that the perimeter has been breached, and then basically after that there's this huge gunfight and stuff, and basically what happens after that is later on they first the way it starts off is they start shooting these rockets at these points at it after the grenades that were on the people's bags caused the front gate to be exposed, and then then the actual gunfight starts, and then it goes to where the president is, and he's telling Prime Minister Lee that they have a problem. Please have the trusted nation to get it, and then O'Neill is basically saying that he wants the president to come with him for a second, and he's saying that it's a critical message, and he's saying that the White House is under ground attack and stuff. And then basically what happens after that is it starts off with a gunfight, and then it shows some people getting shot down, and then basically what happens after that, it goes into the Pentagon where the crisis room is, and then this general guy, he's saying that he's telling the rapid response teams to get them moving, and then first it starts off with the officer on deck thing, and then one of the military people that's standing at the conference table thing, he's saying, he's standing up because he sees the officer that's coming, and then the general is basically saying that rapid response team to get them moving, and this also introduces General Edward Clegg, which is the general that's talking in this section of the movie. He's saying that he wants them to get moving and stuff, and he's telling the soldier that's standing at ease, and then he's asking the deputy director of the NSA, which is known as Ray Monroe, how bad it is out there, and he's saying that the front fence has been breached. They got a C-130 burning on the front lawn on a south lawn, and a gunfight raging on the north. And then basically what happens is he's wondering then General Clegg is in a, and then basically what happens is he's wondering what the president is, and then Jacobs is basically saying that he's in the bunker, and then and by the way, Mike's character is a part of the gunfight. Now that's kind of crucial because later on he sends them a phone call through the president's staff phone, which is located in the Oval Office. I just thought I'd get that small part of the way. Anyway, later on, what happens is after that, what happens basically is while the gunfighting is continuing on the north lawn, it goes into where the Peacock is, and then the president's wanting these people to get the Pentagon on the line now and stuff. And then basically what happens after that is then the Forbes knifes Jones in the side of the head, and they're wondering what's going on. And then the people that were supposedly a part of the South Korean security detail start attacking them. And then basically what happens is one of the people that's there wonders what Forbes is doing, and then they take the president and stuff hostage. And basically what happens after that is the gunfighting is continuing, and then it goes to where Clegg and the others are in the crisis room, and he's wondering what's taking the response team so long, and then Ray is saying that basically the response team is 5 minutes out, but he says that there's and then General Clegg is wondering, but what? And then And then Jacobs is basically saying that they may have a hostage situation on their hands because the Peacock's gone offline. And then, uh, and then basically what happens is after that, the gunfighting. Well, before that, the gunfighting was continuing, and before the talking, one of the agents was nicked in the neck with a bullet, and then he passed out from blood loss. Basically, I just thought I'd mention that since it's a small part I missed. Anyway, uh, then they head to. Then some of the people that are inside the building head out to help the fight, and then one of the soldiers that's on the grass sends in a radio communication from a microphone on his shirt, and then him and his people, they start laying on the ground, and then Mike's telling them to go back because what happens is there's another guy in one of the dump trucks that came through by crashing into the police cars, shooting this rapid fire like turret thing, causing a lot of glass to come out, and then later on the people notice that, and then basically what happens after that is basically what happens after that is he's saying that he's swearing again, and then he notices a person with a grenade launcher that goes to a rocket. Now Alex. I'll explain that. You see, basically there is a technical term for that. There's a technical term for the thing that he's using. It's called an RPG or rocket-powered grenade and stuff, basically. Anyway, they use a rocket-powered grenade to blow the door open, and then Mike's telling them to get inside, but before one of them can get inside, they're shot in the back, and the other one, before he can get through, is like shot through and stuff. And then basically what happens is Mike tries to pull him in, and then basically he can't manage to do it, and then basically what happens is they storm the building along with the security truck, and they get this weird, it's called a Hydra 6 Series 6A weapon, which is X generation military, which is theirs. I really, even now, I don't know how they got it. Anyway, even I don't know how they got it. Maybe it might be because of Forbes, because he might have betrayed them, because he betrayed the president and the stuff. So I'm thinking he might have told them where it was. I'm just speculating, because even now I don't understand how they could have gotten a hold of it in the movie. I really don't understand that part. Anyways, then it goes into where the woman is. She's saying in a different language that the video monitoring is off, and she's initiating external lockdown, and then the so-called head of security and chief aide is taking off his glasses, and then it shows the people storming, then shows the enemy storming the building, and then basically what happens is after that, basically what happens after that is, basically what happens after that is, basically what happens is they try to get the others to try to fight them, but then, they're overpowered, and there's one guy left, and he starts shooting it, but he uses weapons out, and then he tries to grab another gun, but then he gets shot in the fingers. And now this is why the movie is called Olympus Has Fallen. Olympus Has Fallen is also the military code for when the White House is taken. Anyway, I just gotta get to explain that. Anyway, continuing on. Basically what happens is the people on the other side, they notice that the White House has been taken, and the rapid response team's finally mobilized and stuff. And then, like, before that there was a small explosives scene where they placed explosives against the door, and, basically, they managed to defeat the guys that were inside the house for the security thing. Before that, I just thought I'd get that small part out of the way. Anyway, continuing on, basically what happens after that, is, like I said, they find out that the White House has been taken, and then the rapid response team finally shows up, and then after that, what happens is, they say they're coming from the White House. So far, the perimeter has been set. They're waiting for more intel to come in, and once they do, Bravo team's gonna like breach. And then one of the people that they're saying that um basically he's wanting them to wait for his command to execute, and then they're agreeing with them. And then the news reporter is saying that not one of the news reporters is saying that not since the British burned down the White House in the War of like 1812 as an enemy force occupied like the center of American power. And then one of the other ones is saying that the White House, the most protected building on Earth, has fallen. And then basically what happens after that is they get a secure feed from the PR, and it shows the Prime Minister and and then basically the general is wondering if the Prime Minister is safe and if he's with the President and stuff. And then wanting him to, but then before he can continue talking, the guy with the glasses, supposedly his aide, it shoots him in the back of the neck, like execution kind of style stuff, like almost to the back of the head kind of thing. And then one of the men that's with him takes the president up to them, and the president is telling them not to negotiate. And then basically, the guy that was supposedly with the president as head of security and chief aide, he's saying that basically he's got their commander-in-chief and he wants them to stand down, and then Clegg is wondering who he is, and then he's saying that he's the managed control of their White House, and then basically what happens after that is he's telling them again to stand their men down, and then basically, Clay had no choice but to stand his men down, and then later on he said that they're at DEFCON 4 and stuff, and then basically what happens after that is, then it goes to where the president is in the bunker with Forbes, and he's wondering how could he, and then Forbes is telling him to put his hands up so that he's consigned to one of the posts, and he's telling, he's just another F word, and then he has one of the men carry one of the women over there, and then McMillan's freaking out. She wants the guy that's holding her to let her go, and then President Speed's like no, and then Forbes nods his head like, to allow him to shoot her, and then he's saying that there's a reason why he never voted for him, and then basically what happens after that is he ties them up, like ties them to the posts and stuff, and then basically after that what happens is he's saying that, and then it shows the damage from the battle, and then after that what happens is and then basically what happens after that is it shows the damage from the battle, like I said, and then after that Mike's still in the building, and then the power goes out, and then before it goes out, he's pulling the mask off one of the people, and then one of the other soldiers that's working for the men that was supposedly the chief aide, he just deploys this little thing, and he says that the drone has been deployed. And then basically what happened, and then after that, what happened is, he deploys this little flying thing, which comes in handy later on. Anyway, after that, Mike sneaks into where the people are with the working at the screen, and then after that, he fights one of the guys, and then he takes one of Connor's photos, and he sees that the person that had a photo of Connor and stuff. So, and then turns off these surveillance monitors so that they couldn't find out what happened. And then later on, the hospitals are basically overwhelmed by that stuff. And then Leah tries to contact Mike on her phone, and then basically, before she could try, the cellular service in the area that she was calling has been suspended temporarily. And then basically, what happens after that is he's and then basically what happens is the hospitals are besieged because of the thing, and they're taking one girl that had trauma and she's bleeding. And then basically after that, what happens is it goes back into where they are in the Peacock, and then Forbes and another man take the president over to where the guy is, and President Asher is looking at where the nuclear launch codes is, and he's saying that he has no interest in America's nuclear launch codes because by now their Pentagon has changed them, and he's telling him to sit, and then Asher is wondering if the guy that's there is from the north, because he sure as hell that he's not from the southern area, and then the guy's basically saying that the guy's basically saying that he's working for justice to give millions of starving men and women a chance at more than just subsistence and to end the civil war that his country interrupted from so long ago. And of course, yes, for the United Phosphorus of Korea and stuff. And then Forbes is basically saying that it's a whole new world. And then basically President Asher kind of insults him, saying that what's the going rate for souls these days and stuff. And then Forbes is wondering what he meant by that. And he's saying that he never would have taken him for a traitor. And then Forbes is saying what about the president? Because he sold out this country long before he ever did. Globalization and Wall Street and stuff like that. And he's saying that what's the cost of a presidency nowadays? $500 million. And he's saying that he's a rookie compared to him and stuff. And the president headbutts him. And then basically what happens is the guy that's talking is telling him enough, and then he's saying in his language to find the boy, tells him that his name is Connor and stuff, and then the president is wondering what about Connor, what is he gonna do to his son, and then it goes into the scene where he is in the Pentagon and crisis room, and then the people all stand up, and then Jacobs basically saying that because the president and vice president are unable to discharge the duties of their offices, she now is placing the Speaker of the House under Secret Service protection. So technically now he is the acting president of the United States, and he's wondering if they're alive, and then she's saying that they are. And then basically what happens after that is he's telling them all to be seated, and then Ray is basically saying that North Korea is denying any involvement in the attack, and General Clegg is basically saying that they've secured the White House and cleared a 10-block radius, and then Jacobs is basically telling the temporary president that they've also that the guys that have done this have also assassinated the South Korean prime minister. And then he goes into where the Oval Office is with Mike, and then he manages to get a hold of the president's cell phone, which is this little phone that's going to be attached to the ear, which is kind of cool, by the way. Anyway, he's dialed it, and then they get it to them, and then Ray notices that they've got a contact from inside the White House, because Trace confirms that it's the president's cell phone. And House Speaker Trumbull is wanting them to put it through quickly because they think it might be the president, but it's not. It's actually Banning. And when he says that it's negative, they're wanting him to identify himself, and he's saying that he's Echelon 4. and Trumbo is basically wondering if it's one of theirs, and they give him. She asks, then Jacob is asking him the designated, and he said that his designated is Oscar Zulu 309er, which is Banning's phone name, and then she's surprised at that, and she's wondering where he is, and he's saying that he's in the Oval Office, and then he's asking them if the president is in the bunker, and then before she can answer that, Clegg puts his hand on the intercom saying that basically they can trust Mike, and Jacobs is basically saying that Banning was one of their best agents, and then basically Ray is basically making an interjection with that because President Mike, the guy that was moved from the president's detail after the accident where they lost the first lady and stuff, and he's wondering what Mike's doing in the White House right now. How do they know they can trust him? And then Jacobs is basically saying that if he wants to add something, she suggests that he gets his facts straight, and then she's telling President Trump, like the Speaker of the House, that Banning is ex-Special Forces, Ranger Battalion, who move mountains or like died trying to do it. And then he said that she knows him, and then Trump was basically asking anybody else if they have any other intelligence coming out of the White House, and they all nod their heads no, and he said that they basically have no, so basically they have no choice but to trust him. Anyway, continuing on, she's saying, after the intercom is turned back on, she's saying basically that the president is in the bunker, he's being held hostage, and Mike's wondering what these people want, and then Jacobs is basically saying that they're trying to find out, and then Banning is wondering who's in charge, and then Trumbull's saying that he's the one in charge, and he's wondering if there are any survivors from the gunfight with them, and he tells them that's a negative because they were wiped out, and he's telling them that they got commandos roaming in the hallways with enough like explosives to take out an army and stuff, and he also tells them that he thinks that it looks like the doors and windows have been rigged with like C4 explosives, which is a type of explosive kind of powder kind of thing. Anyway, he's also saying that who knows what else these guys have up their sleeves, and he's saying that they shut down the power. Turn off the lights and close all the air vents, and he's telling them that he killed surveillance, but he doesn't know how long that's gonna last, and he's wondering where Connor is, and then basically what happens is after that, Jacobs is basically saying that they have no status of Connor's actual location, but he's presumed to still be inside the White House and stuff, which is good. Didn't find him before the guy did. Anyway, before I continue, beforehand there, the guy was talking and he was wanting to find Connor and stuff, and then the president got a bit upset about that. I thought I'd get that small part out of the way. Anyway, continuing on, basically what happens after that is says he'll be looking for him. He's got his photo, and he's telling the speaker that he's there and he's got to use him and stuff. And Jacobs is basically telling him to sit tight because they'll get back with him. And while he's waiting for them to get back with him, he fights a Korean commando and stuff. And basically what happens is after that they get another secure feed link from York, and the guy that there says that he tells them what his demands are. Basically what his demands are is that he recalls the 7th Fleet from the Sea of Japan, and remove all 28,500 American troops from the demilitarized zone, which is the DMZ, by the way. That's the tech, that's the official term for it, but DMZ is the short term for it. Anyway, and he's telling them that he doesn't comply if they attempt any operation at all to retake the building, and if they even deviate from his instructions, um, then Trumbo is basically saying that they can't just recall the Seventh Fleet. And then the guy is basically saying that he'll execute their officials one by one, and their blood will be on their hands and on his hands and stuff. And he's basically giving them a time limit of until dawn. And then basically what happens is he's suggesting that they move quickly, and then Trumbull is wondering who that guy is, and then they're saying that they're running. One of them is saying that they're running facial recognition on him right now, and then Jacobs is basically saying that he cleared as part of the South Korean security detail and stuff. And then basically what happens is Clegg is basically saying that General Clegg is basically saying that if they recall the fleet and leave the DMZ area, Seoul and all of like South Korea would fall within 72 hours and stuff. And then Jacobs is basically saying that, but if they do nothing and they kill Asher, the vice president, and the entire national security team, and Connor if he was in there, and then Speaker Trump was wondering what to do, and then he's telling Mary to get him a cup of coffee, half and half, teaspoon loads, and then a real cup, not one of those paper styrofoam kind of things. Anyway, after that, he's basically saying that what they're going to do is they're going to secure all nuclear sites and get them their expert on North Korea, and he wants to speak with the premier of North Korea on a secure phone line. And he's saying that after that he wants to speak with the British, the Chinese, the Russians, the Chinese, the British, and the French, and then set up a press conference in that order. And then it goes to where the president is in the bunker, and he's saying that the United States of America doesn't negotiate with like terrorists and stuff. And the guy that's there takes out one of before he takes out his knife, he says that who said anything about negotiating? And then he takes his knife out and then and then he tells them in his men in his language to bring the admiral to him, like he said, bring him. And then he's saying that he wants the Admiral Cerberus code. I'll explain what Cerberus is when it's sort of point where it's mentioned. Anyway, the president says if they kill him, they won't get the code. And then basically what happens is he says that he won't ask again, and then he starts cutting him on the cuff. And then the president succumbs to it and tells Phil to give him his code because it won't matter because they won't get his and stuff. And then basically his code is Tango Julian 19334, which is basically TJ19 334 and stuff. And then basically the guy is telling him that he wants him to say it louder and stuff. And then so he says the code a bit louder, and then they type the code in, and then he throws him on the ground. And then one of the people that's in the NORAD section of this office sees that one of the Cerberus codes has been entered in, and then the other one that's there runs down to where the House Speaker is, and he's saying that basically he's telling them that a Cerberus code has been entered, and then they're all freaking out. And then it goes to where where Mike is, and he's telling them that they got something coming their way because he's telling them that he's got something coming their way because he's got a Korean commando in front of him, and he sends them a photo with his little image on it. And he's saying that. And then basically what happens is after that, they're wondering what this mark is, and Jacobs is wondering if he's alive, and then And then after that, basically what happens after that is Mike makes a little joke about that, saying that he asked them a serious question, and then Craig is wondering, asking anyone around the table, and they're saying that they don't recognize it. And then basically Mike is saying that whoever they are, they're really good. They're well trained and they're well organized. Uh, they're well trained and they're well organized. But he guesses that they know that already. And then Trump was telling them to get that over the landline. And then Mike is wondering what he's got for them, and he's saying, and he's wanting them to talk to him. And then basically he's saying that, then Trump was basically saying that that the guys want them to recall the 7th Fleet and pull their troops out of the area. And then Mike kind of makes a sarcastic joke saying that, is that all? And then Trumbull tells them that is that all, like, as a sarcastic joke. And Trumbull's basically saying that the Cerberus code has been answered. And then Banning is wondering what Cerberus is. And then Clay tells them that that's classified. And he's like, classified? Really? Well, right now I think that's the proverbial. Proverbial need to fucking know, which is kind of funny because he actually does have the proverbial need to know about that because it's a crisis thing. And then basically Trumbull was telling them that Trumbull was saying that basically he's saying that Cerberus, basically what Cerberus is a highly classified military protocol, which is like a three-pronged, I guess you could say, fail-safe device. It allows them to access the self-destruct mechanism of their ICBMs in flight. So basically, what that means is, if one of their nuclear warheads was launched and they wanted to abort the launch, basically Cerberus was their only way to stop the missile from reaching its target. And Trumbull was saying that no one person has all 3 codes. Parcel goes to the President, Secretary of Defense, and the Chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, which is the first code that was entered, by the way. Anyway, he's saying that all of whom are in the President's bunker at that point. And basically, Jacobs is saying that with those codes, they can destroy any long-range nukes the Americans fire, and that would leave America itself open to a nuclear strike. So Banning's wanting them to change the codes, but Ray is basically saying that they can't, because when Cerberus was created, it was created as a self-contained, total isolation system, and the only way to change the code was physically on the computer itself, which was located in the president's bunker and stuff. So now Mike realizes why these guys wanted the president's son. And then basically Trump was basically saying that the president will hold out as long as he can, but if they were able to get his son, if they hurted him in any way, he's saying that no one would hold out under those circumstances. So he's wanting Mike to find Connor and get him the hell out of where he is and stuff. And he's wondering, pardon my language, and stuff. I just had to get it out of the way. Anyway, continuing on, he's agreeing with them, and then it goes into the next scene, and the guy that's talking is telling folks to come over to where he is, and he's wondering who that is. And he tells one of the female that's there on the computer that to show him, and he says that it's Mike Banning. And then he's basically saying, the guy that's there is wondering who that could be, and he's telling the guy. And then Forbes is telling him that he was on the president's protection detail for a few years, and then they're saying if they're worried about him, and then Forbes is saying that they're not, and he pats him on the shoulder like this, and he's saying no, and then President Asher is saying that he should be, and then the guy is telling his people his soldiers in his language to find Banning, and then it goes to where it goes to into the places where they are, and they're looking for him, and then Mike manages to hide in the walls. Then when the agents that are in there try to look for him, they notice that he's not there, and then the guy that's talking is saying that he's says that the Truman got the White House interior in 1948 or 49. He believes it, at least it was 49, and steel frames a little doing this, and then he's basically saying that he's telling them that he's in his language that his banging is in the walls, and then they realize that, and then Mike manages to find then he manages to find Connor, and then they start shooting, and then he manages to get them out, and then basically after he's gone with the soldiers and stuff, he they then the press conference shows up on the TV, and after they rescued the president's son, Trump was telling them that they should see if they could get the president out, and then basically Mike is agreeing with that. He's saying, and then it goes to the scene with the news report, and he's saying that, basically that he wants to reassure all the Americans and all the people around the world that despite today's events, their government remains 100% functional. They know that the president is alive, and to their friends, they're grateful. Before I continue with that, the people managed to get Connor out, and I can't explain to you what his military code name is. Spartan was. Anyway, he's saying, and Trump was continuing his news report. He's saying that they know that the president is alive, and he's telling them that to their friends, they're grateful to their loyalty and support, and he's also saying that as a nation, they're better, never stronger than when tested. He said that they'll remain united and stronger, and he's saying that basically, he's saying, God bless you all, God bless the United States of America, and then it goes into the next scene in the White House, and then Mike attacks two of the soldiers that have taken over the place, and he's kind of interrogates them to wonder who's behind everything. And then basically they start laughing, and then he stabs one guy in the neck and causes his blood vessels to bleed and stuff, and basically he dies. And then he's asking the other one what his leader's name is, but he says that he's sorry, so he takes his nothing off, and he's wondering how many men the guy has, and then he starts talking his language, so he puts his hand over his mouth and then stabs him in one leg, and he tells him to say it again in English, and then basically Mike is saying to his people that the guy behind this is named Saki Chang. He said of the KUF, which is a paramilitary organization, and he said that there's no surprises there, and he's saying that 20 commandos breach the gates. 50 commandos breach the gate, 20 and then Jacobs is wondering how they construct the information, and Mike is makes a sarcastic kind of thing about that, saying that he just asked him nicely, which he didn't. He kind of stabbed him in the legs, and after he found out the information, he killed him. And then Ray is saying that Chang is actually telling him that Chang is one of the most wanted terrorists in the world in the movie. He's said that he was brought across the DMZ as a child after his father was executed 2 times against the North Korean state. And basically what happens after that is he's also saying that while they were crossing the border, his mother got killed by an American landmine. And he's telling them that Chang masterminded the 2004 bombing of the British embassy in Seoul, and he funneled Pyongyang uranium out of Pakistan and stuff. And he says he tells them that he's never been photographed or identified by any Western intelligence agencies. And he's saying that crying out loud, nobody thought to look for him within the South Korean government and stuff. And then Clegg is basically saying that Clegg is basically saying that he doesn't care who he is and what that guy who he is and force that size. He's got men who can sweep them out in short order. And then basically, Mike is telling Clegg that this isn't going to be like a cakewalk because these guys are really tough. And then Clegg is basically telling him that he's got the toughest guys in the world, and he's wondering how they can get into the bunker. And then Jacobs is basically saying that once those blast doors that they go through close, he can't because it's nuclear hardened. And then she's telling them that there used to be some old tunnels, but they were like sealed up years ago. And then Danny's saying that Clegg's men need to find out to know what the hell they're dropping into. So he doesn't want General Clegg to launch anything until he does some recon and stuff. And then they're agreeing with that. And then basically what happens after that is, in the next scene, Banning is walking through the area, and then Kang is contacting him and tells him that he knows who he is, and he makes a little joke saying welcome to his house. And then basically, Banning is telling him what took him so long, and then basically what happens after that is, he's asking what took him so long, and Kang is saying that he's the one who let the first lady die, and then he says soon the president, and he's telling him that failure seems to be a bit of a habit with him and stuff, and then he says that maybe he owes him for giving him the chance for making up for that, and he's telling him that he admires him for acknowledging his failure and stuff, but there's no going back. Nothing he tries or does there in the White House tonight can atone for what he did. And he's saying that maybe not, but wrecking his plan will seem like one hell of a start. And he's telling him that he might want to take a head count because the bodies are like piling up. And then Kang is basically saying that he's got more than enough men to finish the mission and stuff. And then Banning is telling him that if he's looking for Connor, he's on his way to the baseball game. And then basically what happens is, then Kang is saying that I'm wondering how Mike's wife is, telling him that she can save his life. Too bad she will not save his life and stuff. Oh, and he's telling him, why don't they play a game of golf? And then basically, he's telling him that he goes first, and then he has Forbes go and kill him, and then he has his people take the Secretary of Defense so they can enter her soul, but she doesn't want to give it to him, and then he whacks her, and then he goes to give her his coat again. And then he tells her to give her his coat again. He give her the coat again, and then he her code again, and then basically she's saying that basically they'll have to kill her, and then he says they wish, and then basically he starts telling her, and they're saying that there's a saying in Korea, which basically the saying is that saying something 100 times is not as good as like living it once and stuff. And then tell them to say the few word, and then a few word, and then basically what happens is the president wants him to stop, and then he's telling Ruth to give him her code because it won't matter because they're not going to get his, and she doesn't want to give it to him. The Joint Chief is Admiral Mahoney's code is Tango Julian 19334, and this, and basically the president is basically telling Ruth to give him her code, and he's telling her that that's an order, and says that her code is Echo Mike 6028 and stuff. and then they enter the code, and then they're telling, he's wondering how she gets it, and then basically she's saying she wanted them to get their hands off her, and then the people on the other side are telling Trumbull that the second Cerberus code has been entered, and then basically, and then it goes into the next scene where Ford is looking around, and then Mike points his gun at his end, and he freaks out when he brings it back. He tells him that to put the thing down, and then almost blew his brains out, and what's he doing? And then he tells him that he's we went to South Korean interrogation, and what is he doing there? Because he thought he was with the Treasury and working on the Treasury, and he said that he is. Believe it or not, he came in through the front door, which is kind of true. He came in through the front door after it was blasted open. And then they're having a little combination and then reminiscent thing, and then he said that the place is going around and he can't think straight. And he's wondering, and then Mike's wondering if he's okay, and he says that he's not because Kang guy's crazy. And then Mike's wondering how he knows Kang's name and stuff. And then basically they start fighting and stuff. And then he starts shooting, and he tells them that remember that time in New York. And he starts shooting them, and they start fighting. And then after that, Mike manages to knife him in the throat, and then he kicks him in the throat area, and then he kicks him, and then he's asking Dave why he did it, and he says that he lost his wife or something like that, and then he's telling Dave that he can make up for it, tell Kang he's dead because it'll help him save the president, and then Forbes tells Kang over Mike's radio that he's dead, but he got him all clear and stuff, and then Mike killed him after that, and then it goes into where the president is with Roots, and they're saying that, and he's saying it's a rough day and stuff, and then she's asking him if he has any, he's asking him if he has any regrets, and then she says that she doesn't, and what about him and stuff, and he says that he has a few, like running for president and stuff, and then Roots is basically saying that the office is lucky to have him. They all may meet there today, but the one thing she doesn't want on her tombstone is them going down without a fight. And then then the president is saying that there's no dangerousness, and then they send in an airstrike to secure Cerberus, but Mike's wanting them to wait until he gets there first to check it out, but Trumbull was basically saying that they're not waiting to get the guy to secure Cerberus, and then he's telling the general that they're sending the SEALs because they're going to go in through the roof and stuff, and then there's this big skirmish and stuff, which ends badly with Mike crashing through the side of the building, and then after that, there's half of the White House explodes and all that, and then the news reports see that, and then basically what happens is Kang says that was a foolish undertaking and stuff, and then he shoots the vice president and then can kill them, and then tells them that their president is next. Because of their little incident, they now have 1 hour to recall. They now have 1 hour to recall the Seventh Fleet. Count it 1 hour to recall the Seventh Fleet and their troops. And once they do that, he wants a helicopter on the North Lawn, fueled and ready in 60 minutes and stuff. And then he terminates the connection, and then they get another call from Mike on his sat phone. And then they've had to do it, and then Trumbull's wondering if Mike's okay, and he's saying that if they ever get out of the crap they're in, he can hold him for subordination, but his team really needs him now. And then General Clegg is saying that he wants Mike to stand down, and basically, and then Mike's like, remove your only eyes and ears from the ground. That's brilliant. And then basically, Clegg is basically saying that they need to pull him out of there before they lose another hostage, and he's saying that he's giving him a directive order. And then he says that he gives Clegg a news flash that he doesn't work for him, and then Trumbull is basically saying that he's the commander-in-chief. If he didn't really need, he absolutely didn't need Clegg right now, he could relieve him at that point. And then Clegg is telling the speaker that he will not let Mike go up another minute and stuff. And then the speaker gets a little agitated and saying that he doesn't want to hear another word out of Clegg unless he asks him a question. And then basically what happens after that is he's asking Mike if he's there and stuff. And then after that what happens is basically he's saying Mike's wondering what the plan is, and then Trumbull is basically saying that they were calling the 7th Fleet and pulling their troops back from and giving them the helicopter and stuff. And then Mike is basically saying that he can't do that. He can't give the king what he wants because he's dealt with these kind of men right now. Just give him some time and let him flush him out. And then Trumbull was basically saying that they're talking about the safety of the President of the United States, and then basically Mike is saying that they're talking about a heck of a lot more than that. And then he's saying that with all due respect, he's the acting president now, and Mike's the best hope he got. And then basically Trumbull was basically telling him that he's got 30 minutes. And then basically what happens is Mike calls his wife on the phone, and he's wondering if, and then basically she gets the call, she's asking him how his day's been, and he says his day's been busy, it's good and stuff. And then basically what happens is he's wondering if she's okay, and she says that she's had to stay a little later than she expected. And then basically she says that he said that he's had to stay a little late too as well, and she's wondering if he's gonna come home and all tonight. And he says that sure, he's taking it, and then he makes a little joke before he ends the call. He said that he'll get back to work. His paperwork's piling up, which is kind of funny because he's not doing any paperwork. He's trying to save the president and stuff. Oh my god, that's why it's a bit funny. I get that out of the way. Anyway, continuing on with that, he says that he loves her and ends the call, and he accesses the video feeds to talk to Kang, and he's telling him that what's the matter with Kang. He looks like he's seen a ghost, and he said that he doesn't know who he can trust, huh? And then he's saying that it's over, no more televised execution, no chopper, no more negotiating with him and the United people, so on and stuff. And then basically what happens after that is, he's saying that, Kang's saying that he'll send the president down to Mike one piece at a time, and then Mike's saying that basically it won't matter, because whatever Kang thinks he accomplished, he won't be alive to see it. And then Kang tells the woman that's with him to shut him down. And then basically what happens after that is Mike's saying that he's not shutting him down, he's here to stay. And then Kang is saying that he underestimated Mike, and that it won't happen again. And then Mike is basically saying that there is no again, because he's going to die down there alone, cut off from the rest of the world. And he gives him a bit of advice. Basically, his advice is save the last bullet for himself, because if he doesn't, he's going to stick his knife through Kang's brain and stuff like that. And basically, he told him not to worry, because he's going to leak his photos of his body to the press and stuff, because he knows you like that kind of stuff, that kind of crap and stuff like that. And the connection is terminated. And then the woman that's there said that he's terminated, he's locked out their video access, and he tells his people to secure the entrance, and he tells them that he's bleeding, and he takes McMillan, and then while she's being dragged out, she does the Pledge of Allegiance and stuff like that. I just thought I'd get that small part out of the way. And then then they start walking, and she's saying that their leader is out of his mind, and stuff. And Kang grabs her by the neck and tells her to go and walk and move. And then basically what happens after that they realize, and then the guys outside realize that McMillan's outside, and then the people in the booth send the feed to the others, and they notice that McMillan's in, and they want to get a team out there and another to cover, and then Kang tries to shoot someone, and then but Mike interrupts him and shoots one of his men and stuff. And then basically what happens after that is basically what happens is Kang manages to escape, and then Mike tells him that Kang got away, he's back in the bunker, and then basically Trumbull was saying that he did his best shot, he saved McMillan in the process, which is a victory in its own right, I guess you could say. And then there's these news reports saying that North and South Korea military forces are on the brink, on high alert and stuff, and rumors to impending American pull-out from the DMZ. And then Trumbull looks at the clock and he's saying that the hour is up. He wants them to send a helicopter, recall the 7th Fleet, and pull the troops out of the DMZ. And then basically, after that, Clegg is saying that they just lost South Korea and stuff. And then basically, the Network 10 news said that Pentagon sources have now that to withdraw from South Korea for the first time in like 60 years. They're also hearing reports that the U.S. 7th Fleet has been given orders to pull back in the region, and even though it's not confirmed yet, that this historic event seems to have been caused because of today's attack on the White House. And basically it said that it began as the Prime Minister of Korea was meeting with President Asher, and then the woman is looking, and then she sees that the President that the fleets are moving, and she tells Kang that, and then basically after that, what happens is they take some of the people and get them on the plane. I know, Mary, I'm coming. Anyway, what happens after that is basically they get on the plane, and then later on it gets shot down, and they're wondering if, because they're upset because they thought the president was on the air. I'm coming, Mary, don't worry. Okay. Yeah, I'm coming, don't worry. Get on. Then Mike realizes that the president wasn't actually on the plane. He was in the finds out that thinks that the president is still in the bunker, and he walks away. And then basically what happens after that is Trumbull was telling him that if the Kang is still on the premises with the president, he can't let them leave. And then he's saying that he won't. And then, Kang is the president. He's entering the last code and stuff. And then he activates Cerberus. And then he's saying that, and the president's wondering why he's activating it because they haven't launched any missiles yet. And then basically he's saying that he doesn't have to launch them because the explosive force within each of the hardened cells will detonate the missiles. And he's basically saying that millions of Americans will perish and his country will be a cold, dark, nuclear wasteland and stuff. And now to America to show no suffering at them. And then there's the news reports again, and then Ray's saying that Cerberus has been activated, and he's also telling them that NORAD confirms it. And then basically, they're wondering how the codes were broken, and then Ray is saying that basically, it's impossible because it would take only 3 days. They've been in the bunker computer for days to break free codes and stuff. And then basically, Clegg is saying that they've never had. Clegg is saying that they didn't launch any missiles, and Trumbull is basically saying that they're going to detonate them in the silos and stuff, and then Jacobs is wondering how many, and he says that Monroe says that all of them, and then Trumbull is saying that he just opened like gates of hell, and then he takes the president with him, and then the president's wondering if he'd ever get out of here alive, and then Chang is telling him that if the world believes that they're both dead, and with him as insurance, they press the button and the thing is supposed to reveal the tunnel, and then after that what happens is he tells them to head to the tunnels, and then Mike notices them and he starts shooting some of them, and there's this big skirmish, and during that skirmish the president gets shot in the chest, and then Mike stops Kang, and then basically what happens is he goes over to where the president is to get the bullet out of him, and then the president is telling him that Cerberus has been activated, and he's saying, and then he goes over to where Cerberus is, and he's telling the guys on the other end that he's got the president, but he's hurt but alive, and he's wondering how to turn the Cerberus off, and they give him the activation code, but first they have to find Virtual Panel, Mark Cameraman, and flip a blue light switch him, initiate recall, and then they have to enter the code, which is, but when they get to the hashtag where Mike's wondering what that means, and then basically, Jacobs is telling him that it's shift 3, and then he's going to say shift 3, and then he enters the rest of the code, and then the code shuts Cerberus down, and then basically what happens is they're all relieved about it, and then basically what happens is Ray tells, yeah, I'm coming.
You're going to be upset when Jake your food. It's lunchtime.
I can't.
Yes, you can.
No, I don't know how to pause. Anyway, he's telling them to get phone and to get online, and then basically the next part of it is basically a press conference, and then after that, that's kind of. And that's after the press conference, that's where it ends. So I give it a solid rating of 90, and that's basically where this video will stop, guys. So if you like this video on YouTube with the view of Olympus Has Fallen, give it the best you can, and I'll see you guys until season 2 of my series. I'll see you guys next time.